My name is Ben Pratt. I'm a water resources engineer at the Susquehanna River Basin Commission. My colleague Graham Merkowitz is a hydrologist, and Stacey Hanrahan is our communications and outreach specialist. So we're really happy to be here and today talking about a topic that's pretty near and dear to my heart, and that's flooding. I spend most of my time at the Commission working on issues around flooding, floodplain management, flood risk reduction for the entire Susquehanna River Basin. What I want to do today, I think, is talk about some of the concepts around flooding, why floods happen, and things that you can possibly do to offset flooding.
What type of land surface do you think water would run off of real quick versus like soak in? Right. Yeah. So concrete is impervious. That means water can't get in.
Impervious parking lot. Just kind of observe what happens. You can see that with this rate of rainfall, we are definitely getting runoff. It's running down the stream. It's actually moving into the floodplain here a little bit. So really what we've observed is that rain on a hard surface is going to run off pretty quickly and head down the stream.
Treatment plant, we got a little neighborhood over here, we even have a construction site in the back. So you got everything going on. That's your barn? Right. Your farm? Do you live on a farm?
Yeah. Hey, no, look.
And then circle around in the upper section.
There you go. So it's certainly not as dark as it was. Go ahead. They are definitely, you're demonstrating flood, and that's what we were talking about up here anyway, so that works perfectly.
And today I'm going to talk with you about the history and legacies of Tropical Storm Agnes, a major flood event that impacted this body of water that we're floating on right now, and lots of people who lived in this region at the time. And actually, I would say the flood still impacts you. If you live in this region, or if you use this body of water, you're impacted by Tropical Storm Agnes. In a lot of places, Agnes became instantly the worst flood ever at that location in Pennsylvania. That amount of rain, if you think about all the rain that Pennsylvania gets in a year, 365 days every season, add up all that rain in your mind. Agnes dropped half of that in a day and a half. So it was just a tremendous storm that, as you just saw upstairs, how water moves off the land and into the river. Try to think about that volume of water moving off the land. Apartment buildings, no longer inhabitable. 200,000 people were rendered homeless by Agnes and lived in mobile homes or evacuation shelters for weeks. And in some cases, they lived in mobile homes for years after Agnes. And the last figure is one I find the most important. Agnes was not a storm that just hit one centralized town like Katrina in New Orleans or Hurricane Harvey in Houston area. It impacted so many towns in Pennsylvania. So if you add up all the property damage to towns where there are less than 10,000 people, it's like the town where I live in Lewisburg, the damage to those small towns is over $270 million, which is twice as much as what Harrisburg experienced in ag. What I want you to do is look through these books, and I want you to find some evidence. So you're kind of investigating. I want you to find 3 pictures or 3 articles, if you have like a newspaper article. And each of them will show or show us how a flood impacts human communities. So look for 3 pictures that really show how Agnes impacts where we live. Feel your heart rate beating. You're like, is he gonna call on me? Is it my time? I love that. It takes a lot of courage. All right. So, look at, there's so many leaders over here. So I'm just gonna choose the cookie girl because I've been talking with you all the time. All right. So what do we have here?
This is one of the grocery stores.
Yeah.
This one, railroad track, water after came in, when put the track.
Okay, excellent. Will you hold that up for people to see? Because that's a big enough picture I think people could see. Look at this railroad track. It's twisted. Totally twisted. One thing, so we've talked with about 50 people who lived through Tropical Storm Agnes. Sat down for about 1 hour, 2 hour conversations with them. People who live in our river valley. And this is one thing they talk about a lot. How powerful water is. Like today we're floating on the Susquehanna. We've had a little bit of rain recently. It seems really calm. We're in complete control here. But when that water flows off the land, like you saw, when so much water flows off the land, it goes where it wants to go, and we can't stop it. We talked with firefighters about being first responders during Agnes, and they said, when you fight a fire, it's like a math equation. You just calculate how big that fire is, how much water do we need, we get the water, we put it out. But with the flood, he said, you cannot stop the flood. You have to run from the flood. Because that's what the flood can do. It can twist wood. It can break metal. It's so powerful. And it fills me with a deep respect for nature. Raise your hand if you live in Pennsylvania. Keep your hand up if you live in the Susquehanna Valley. Not sure, if you're not sure, you can get to this body of water in like 5 minutes. You live in the Susquehanna Valley. How about keep your hands up if your parents or caregivers were raised in the Susquehanna Valley? That's a lot of us. Keep your hands up if your grandparents were raised to live in the Susquehanna Valley. Wow, so many people. All right, so we are all impacted by Agnes. And as I said, for the people who you have in mind with your hands in the air, parents and grandparents, they probably lived through Agnes, and it was their transformative moment. And for you, if you live in the Susquehanna Valley but didn't live through Agnes, our next flood could be a transformative moment for you.